Fusilier Lee Rigby's murder was considered a brutal and random act. At the trial of the two killers, Michael Adebolajo and Michael Adebowale, it was described as an act of revenge. There was little about the planning and nothing about what the intelligence services knew. Today, the Intelligence and Security Committee of MPs revealed much more, and pinpointed a moment MI5 may have altered that fateful course of events if it had been alerted to Adebowale's internet contact with an extremist overseas 4 months earlier.
It is quite clear that the one party which could have made a difference was the overseas-based internet company on whose system this exchange took place. However, this company does not appear to regard themselves as under any obligation to ensure that they identify terrorist threats or to notify the authorities when their systems appear to be used by terrorists.
The ISC wouldn't name the internet company, but tonight it's emerged that it was Facebook. The committee found the social media giants had disabled several of Adebowale's accounts for terrorist-linked reasons, but had not picked up on the exchange before the murder and so had not reported it. What Facebook missed is, according to the report, Adebowale expressing his desire in an explicit and emotive manner to murder a British soldier and being encouraged from abroad to do so. What he actually wrote would have appeared in Appendix C of the report, only it's been redacted. The blank page stands as the only moment the murder may have been prevented. The Prime Minister in the Commons insisted it was now time for internet companies to act.
Terrorists are using the internet to communicate with each other, and we must not accept that these communications are beyond the reach of the authorities or the internet companies themselves. We have taken action, we have passed emergency legislation, and we will continue to do everything we can.
Pursuing the idea that the secret services should be able to get any kind of information at any time, that just leads you down the road of turning into an absolute surveillance state, at which point nobody has any kind of freedom to manoeuvre, and you sacrifice the very thing you're attempting to defend. The terrorists win.
In all, the ISC found there were 7 occasions the two came up on the intelligence agency's radar. 2 became high-priority investigations, but which led nowhere. Michael Adebolajo was first identified by MI5 in 2008. Later that year, he was arrested in Kenya on suspicion of terrorist offences, released and returned to the UK. 3 years later, he was targeted again by MI5, but by October, with no evidence of extremist activity, inquiries were set to close down. And in the months after, MI5 noted he was largely involved in drug dealing. In April, surveillance was dropped. A month later, Lee Rigby was murdered. As for Michael Adebowale, MI5 started to track him in August 2011. But in June the following year, inquiries stopped. Conclusion, he posed no threat. Soon after, GCHQ reported lone wolf comments. MI5 put him back on the radar. And in April 2013, began an application for surveillance. A month later, that's sent for approval by the Home Secretary. But by the time she signs it off, it's too late. Lee Rigby is dead. The Intelligence and Security Committee is most scathing about MI6. The agency's lack of interest in Adebolajo after he was arrested in Kenya, the committee found deeply unsatisfactory. And MI6's role in combating jihadi terrorism amounted, the committee found, to doing practically nothing in his case. With no evidence of any attack planning available, MPs conclude the agencies could not have prevented what happened. Lee Rigby's family hope the report will make a difference.
I think it's a very important report. If we're going to safeguard our citizens on the streets in Great Britain, then this report needs to be looked into in fine detail. Hopefully any learning from the report will be put to good use, and then Lee's death wouldn't have been in vain.
And one other prevailing thought from the ISC, perhaps the most damning: the government's counter-terrorism programmes to counter radicalisation are simply not working.